There's a question nobody asks you after a breakup, and it's the one that matters most. Not, do you still love them? Not, should you go back? Something more uncomfortable than that. Something that, if you actually sit with it, can completely change how you're living right now. The question is, are you missing that person? Or are you missing the version of yourself that existed when you were with them? Wait, don't click away yet, because I know right now that might sound like the same thing. But it's not. Not even close. And in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly why that difference changes everything. Not just how you know, but what you do with what you find out. Because there is a way out of this pain that isn't just waiting. And it starts with looking at yourself with more honesty than you've probably allowed yourself so far. Let's go. When a relationship ends, almost all of us do the same thing. We feel this huge, tangled mix of emotions: sadness, emptiness, nostalgia, confusion, sometimes even relief and then guilt for feeling that relief. And we put one label on all of it: I miss them. And we think that label explains everything. But that label is like opening a box with 100 different things inside, not looking at any of them, and just saying, I miss the box. Because inside that I miss them, there can be very different things. You might be missing the feeling of being chosen by someone. You might be missing the routine, the Sundays that had shape, having someone to eat dinner with. You might be missing the version of you that cooked, that went on walks, that laughed at stupid things, that was brave enough to try. Or you might genuinely be missing that specific person, their exact way of listening to you, their humor, the way they looked at you. All of that feels the same on the inside. All of it hurts the same way, but it isn't the same. And if you don't separate it, you're going to suffer in this confused, directionless way, and most likely end up looking for the answer in the wrong place. Here's something I find genuinely fascinating, something that completely changes how we understand heartbreak. There's a psychological theory called self-expansion, developed by researcher Aron, that says something that looks simple at first, but has huge implications. When you fall in love, you absorb characteristics, perspectives, resources, and experiences from the other person into your own sense of identity. Put more simply, when you love someone, a part of you becomes something new because of that person, and when the relationship ends, that part of you disappears. You don't just lose someone, you lose a version of yourself. That's why heartbreak can feel so disorienting, so physical, so hard to locate. It's not just sadness. It's an identity crisis. Your brain has to recalibrate who you are now without that person as a reference point. The neural connections you built around us suddenly have nowhere to go. It's like a map of yourself with entire regions left blank where there used to be something. Do you feel that as I'm saying it? And here's the question that actually matters. That version of you that left with that relationship, was it better? Was it more you? Or was it a version that needed someone else in order to exist? Because the answer to that tells you everything you need to know about what to do now. To help you figure it out, I want you to sit with 2 questions. Don't answer them fast. Let them breathe. The first one. What were you doing when you were with that person that you're not doing now? Think about it in detail. Were you cooking more? Exploring new places? Reading? Laughing? Moving through the world differently? Did you have projects? Plans, conversations that made you feel alive? If what you miss most are those things, that way of living, that lightness in your body, then what you're probably missing isn't the person as much as the life you had when you were that version of yourself. And that is incredibly valuable to know, because it means that life is still possible, without them. The second question, if that person showed up tomorrow exactly as they were, would you want them back? Not the version you've built in your head over these months. Not the idealized, soft-lit memory where the hard parts got edited out. Them, with their contradictions, their silences, their limitations, the parts of them that cost you something. If your answer hesitates, there's important information in that hesitation, because the human brain has an almost cruel habit after a breakup. It tends to remember the good and soften the hard. It's a protection mechanism, but it can also trap you in a longing that isn't entirely real. You're grieving a person that in part you built after they left. Now let's get practical, because understanding all of this is the first step, but you need real tools. The first thing I want to suggest is what I call the self-inventory. It's simple. Take a piece of paper or open a note on your phone and split the page into 2 columns. In the first column, write things you did or felt when you were with that person. Be specific. Not, I was happier, but I cooked on Sundays, I went for morning runs, I laughed at dumb things without feeling weird about it. I felt safe enough to say what I actually thought. In the second column, write things about that person you miss, concretely, not their presence, but the way they listened without judging, how they made me feel interesting, their sense of humor about the small stuff. When you're done, look at both columns. If the first one is longer, you're mostly missing a version of yourself. If the second one is deeper and more specific, you're genuinely missing that person. Both can be true at the same time, but seeing which one dominates gives you a clarity that no conversation with friends is going to give you. The second thing, ask yourself one very direct question. Who owned those parts of you that came alive in that relationship? If the answer is those parts only existed because of that person, then your work is to reclaim them, to make them live inside you without needing anyone to activate them. If the answer is those parts were always in me, but that relationship woke them up, then your work is to find the contexts, the people, the habits that can keep waking them up. See the difference? In one case, you look outward. In the other, you look inward. And knowing which path to take saves you months of suffering with no direction. And the third thing, something that seems small but gives you real data. For 7 days, pick one thing you did or felt in that relationship that you miss, and do it alone. Go to that place you used to go together. Cook that meal. Play that music. Let that experience exist without them. Can you enjoy it? What do you feel? Do you miss something specific, or do you just miss having company in general? That difference is also information. Real data about you, not theory. Before we go further, I want to be honest with you about something. If you have a pattern where you lose your sense of self every time a relationship ends, it might be worth exploring that with a professional. Sometimes that pattern connects to anxious attachment or to deeper identity wounds that deserve more specific attention. I'm not saying that to scare you. I'm saying it because if that's your situation, this video can be a good starting point. But it shouldn't be your only resource. And if you're a highly sensitive person, if you process everything more deeply than most people, if grief hits you harder than it seems to hit others, that doesn't mean something is wrong with you. It means you feel with more range. And that has enormous value, even when right now it just hurts more. Don't compare your process to anyone else's. There is no correct timeline for healing, and missing someone as much as it hurts is not a sign that you should go back. It's a process happening in your brain, not a message from the universe. I want to say something before we wrap up, something I hope you hold on to. That version of you that existed in that relationship. The lighter one, the more open one. The one that laughed like that. The one that was brave. The one that trusted. The one that was building something. It didn't belong to that person. It was yours. The fact that it showed up in that context doesn't mean it can only exist there. It means it's possible. That it lives inside you. That at some point it found the right conditions to come out. And your work right now is not to get that person back. Your work is to ask, what conditions do I need for that version of me to exist again? What environments? What people? What habits? What kind of love? Starting with the kind you give yourself. In that question, there is a direction. There is a path. There is something so much richer than just waiting for someone to come back. So, are you missing that person? Or are you missing the version of yourself you were with them? Probably both, in different proportions. And that's okay. You don't have to choose one single truth. But you do have to look clearly. Because if you confuse the two, you'll look in the wrong place, and the pain you're feeling won't take you anywhere. What does take you somewhere is doing the inventory, asking yourself who owned those parts of you, running the 7-day experiment, and treating yourself with the same compassion you'd give someone you love when they're going through something hard. Because you are grieving, not just a person, a version of yourself, and that deserves to be acknowledged. If this helped you, hit the like button and drop a comment telling me if this hit home. I read every single one. See you in the next video.